A narrow lead in the first round of the French parliamentary elections was there. Macron's governing coalition and the left-wing alliance are almost level now. Now comes the second round of voting. But winners actually do look different. France's head of state Emmanuel Macron suffered quite a setback on the way to his second term. In the first round of the French parliamentary elections, the candidates in his camp received slightly more votes than those from the new left-wing alliance. According to the preliminary official result, Macron's Centre Alliance got 25.75% of the votes nationwide. This was announced by the Interior Ministry in Paris on Monday night. The alliance of leftists, communists, Greens and Socialists, led by left-wing politician Jean-Luc Mélenchon, came to 25.66% and was therefore at a disadvantage. The difference was just 21,442 votes, with around 48.7 million eligible voters. The head-to-head race between the governing coalition and the left-green alliance, it had come apparent. However, forecasts assumed that the camp of the Liberal president will achieve a clear majority after the second round of voting. However, it is unclear whether it will again be enough for an absolute majority. Before the elections, the governing coalition had an absolute majority. If lost, Macron could lose much of his political power shortly after his re-election as president. Accordingly, the Macron camp could get around 255 to 310 of the 577 seats in the National Assembly. At least 289 seats are required for an absolute majority. And the result is a spectacular success for the new left alliance of leftists, communists, Greens and Socialists, led by Mélenchon. However, the forecasts give them only 150 to 210 of the seats. However, the left-wing alliance was doomed by the complicated electoral system, which led to sometimes serious differences between the percentage of votes and the distribution of seats. In the end, only the votes for the winner in the respective constituency count. Seats are allocated by direct election, usually in 2 rounds. The requirements for getting into the runoff at all are tough. Institutes see Macron's Centre Alliance as better placed to intercept votes from candidates eliminated in the first round. Despite dissatisfaction with his first term in office, Macron benefited from the fact that the parliamentary election in France were perceived as confirmation of the presidential election. In particular, supporters of the winner take part in the voting, while others often stay at home. The disadvantage of the left alliance was that general interest in the election was low, and Macron entered the election campaign late and gave little chance to attack. After the election, Mélenchon spoke of a clear defeat for Macron. He said, "The truth is that the presidential party was beaten and defeated in the first round." He said that on Sunday evening in Paris. In light of this result and the extraordinary opportunity it represents for our personal lives and the future of our common homeland, I call on our people to stream out next Sunday, of course definitely rejecting the fateful plans of the majority of Monsieur Macron. Right-wing nationalist Marine Le Pen described her party's performance in the first round of parliamentary elections as a huge victory. "It is important that Emmanuel Macron does not have an absolute majority, which he will abuse to use his self-centered and brutal methods." That's what Le Pen said on Sunday evening. "The second round gives us the opportunity to send a very large group of patriotic MPs to the National Assembly." She means right-wingers, not patriotic. Marine Le Pen's right-wing Rassemblement National party received 18.68% of the vote. The Republicans, currently the strongest opposition force in the National Assembly, only got 10.42%. For Macron, the issue in the parliamentary elections is whether he will be able to implement his plans in his second term. These are, for example, the controversial pension reform, purchasing power support in the crisis, and urgently needed improvements in education and healthcare. The Liberal also wants to focus more on environmental policy, but above all wants to push ahead with the expansion of nuclear power in addition to renewable energies. For all this, he needs a majority in parliament. The second chamber, the Senate, is less important than the National Assembly and is currently conservative. If the votes are only enough for a relative majority, the president and the government would be forced to seek support from the other camps. It is likely that there will be then a minority government, which, depending on the project, will then try to rely on center-left or center-right forces. The election is also a long-distance duel between two very different political characters. On the one hand, the eloquent president and former investment banker Macron. On the international stage, he acts as a sovereign leader, but on a national level, he struggles with an image as an arrogant elite politician. Opposite him is the left veteran Mélenchon, a leftist ideologue and strategist who sees himself as an advocate of the people and of social justice. He is building on a decades-long political career and, like Macron, has his roots in the socialists. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.